452. And here we find out that the happy, funky-looking guy is still alive, and it's as Urza expected that she just shrunk him to a tiny size, which is pretty funny. Anyhow, this chapter is where we find out about Brandy, Princess Brandy, and I wonder if she is like Urza. Anyhow, it turns out Brandish and Randy have this kind of rivalry going on for whatever reason. And then we go back to the guild, and it's just basically this chapter is about everybody planning what's going on for war. So Natsu just mentioned his secret weapon. Everybody's all like, well, what is it? And he's like, well, I can't tell you because it's a secret. And so I'm just kind of like, it's probably something really stupid. But who knows? And we have this funny scene where we go back to the old scene where Mest chewing on people's heads and Gray having a fit because Natsu won't tell anybody the secret or whatnot. So then apparently Happy knows it, but he won't say anything either. But he says he can only use it once. So I wonder what it is exactly. Why can he only use it once? Anyhow, after we have this thing about Natsu's arm, it starts going into their war planning. It's kind of neat how we have Zeref and Mavis planning like at the exact same time, and we find out that Makarov had met 6 of the Spriggan, but only 7 of them met with Zeref. So we have 5 yet to be revealed. And he's like, well, that's good. And I'm like, well, that's half of them that's a little bit more than half, but not much. So we have him going into this part. Turns out Makarov is just telling about the different Spriggan. He talks about the ice guy, and he talks about Azir, and he talks about Brandish, most people that we have met. It turns out that Brandish actually doesn't like fighting, but she does it just because she's told to, which is interesting. So we have Randy, the war maiden, who Candace says sounds like she's where Rosa's like, well, she's not a wizard, and Candace's like, well, she sounds like as much as a wizard as you are, so I'm guessing that it's his version of Urza. And I'm actually wondering if these Spriggan 12 are his version of the fairy tale people. So I wonder who Serena is. Who would he be? Would he be Laxus? Because I guess if this is Yuri, or Yuri's reincarnate, or whatever, then he could be the counter mirror to Laxus, which would be interesting. And Azir would probably be, well, Natsu. And Makarov might have not recognized him if he was his father, because he died when Makarov was really young. Anyhow, then we have August. He looks like somebody. I don't remember who though. He's talking about preparing for Ragnarok. So Ragnarok, then I would assume that Zeref would be Loki. Mavis would be who's the other one? The one who fought against Loki? His brother or something. So, but then it says we have 4 that we have, that there's 4 that they've met that he doesn't know anything about, or 6 he doesn't know anything about. And this makes me wonder if one of these people who are the Spriggan is actually Gildarts. Because, I mean, I'm not sure why he would join it, but maybe if he he kind of did the silver thing where he's trying to infiltrate the enemy and see what he could do. Because we haven't seen him for a while, and if he's still around, which I'm sure he is, he's due for an appearance. So what if he's like, I'm thinking that he might be Nineheart, because like the Ember, the chief guy, he was like, well, Nineheart's in the thing, or somebody's like, well, Nineheart's in the palace, but he refuses to meet with you, and she's like, well, how dare he do that? And I don't think Guelders would want to meet with Zeref, considering that Zeref is evil. But it could be like Silver. I wonder if he's like Silver, where he joined them to infiltrate the base and see what's going on. And then he was a little tripped out. He was a little freaked out about the whole Mavis being in Lumen Historia thing. So he could have mentioned something to them. But anyhow, we have this other guy, this Wahoo, which to me looks kind of like fodder, but he probably isn't. He's probably really good. But he's like, oh, so we're gonna get the body of your former lover. Is this like, are we gonna be doing something sinful or whatever? And then this is where we find out Zeref's attitude. He's like, well, she's not. Fairyheart is not a person. It's just magic. And then he talks about he wants to annihilate Ishgard. Humanity must perish. So he just wants to destroy Ishgard. I think he destroys everybody. Then we have this part where everybody's like, okay, we're fine with this. And the Ember guy's like, let's plan. Who would he be? Would he be Freed? No, he'd be Gray. So we have this part where Aegeal's like, well, let me do this for myself. And then we have this kind of nice thing where it has one panel of Mavis and one panel of Zeref. Where Mavis is like, we have to plan something. And he's all like, and Zeref's like, no, it's not just going to be you. Everybody has to do this. And he's like, and he talks about this is an all-out war. And Mavis is like, he's going to lead his armies himself. So basically they had this discussion of they're both coming up with their own measurements to choose a war. So and then we have Zeref. He's like, well, you might be able to defeat them by yourself, because he's like, well, I can beat them by myself. And Zeref's like, well, maybe you can, but it has more meaning this way. So he's just having fun. This is like the final act of his simulation game. And all offensive, all of our armies together, it has more meaning this way. So he's coming to the conclusion of his simulation game that he spoke about. And then, Mavis is here. She's like, they're stronger than anybody we've ever fought. But we can pull through with our bonds. Pull through. We'll fight to the bitter end. Our courage and bonds holding us all the way. Let us show them the power of our guild. And Zeref is like, well, let's start advancing our troops. The war is going to begin. We're about to begin our war. The Dragon Festival is here. Now we come into Acknowledge-Ya, where he comes into circuit. And he's all like, I'm going to destroy everybody at the Dragon Festival. I am the true king of all of Dragon's ultimate creation. Well, apparently not, since Fairyheart has no end to power. Then we go into the next chapter of Parents' Duty. So this is my thoughts on the chapter after I've kind of read through it. The chapter is kind of neat how they have the contrasting viewpoints of Zeref and Mavis. I feel as if Gildarts is gonna be in here. This is coming up soon. I feel like I really think he's one of the Spriggan. He's in disguise.